This is Business Rockstars. I'm Mark Lack, and we're here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. Right now, we have a very special guest, Balazs Kardos, joining us. He's the CEO and founder of the Global Prosperity Movement. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, brother.
It's awesome to be here, man.
So, Global Prosperity Movement, I know you personally, so I love what you guys are up to. You're impacting so many lives around the world. But for the audience out there, break it down for us. What do you guys do at Global Prosperity Movement?
We educate and inspire people to break free from the system, be able to work from home, have more freedom. We focus around health, wealth, prosperity, and really giving people the tools when they don't have any experience to get them from where they are today to where they ultimately want to go. What
I love is that, a lot of people come on and they say the product that they have, and you talked about essentially what the product does. And I think that's a huge lesson for people out there is when you talk about what you do, it's not the product or the service that you have and what you sell, it's what that does for the customer, and you just explained that. So what is the actual product? So you're helping people with their health, their wealth, their happiness, living a better life. What is the actual thing that they're investing in or learning from?
They're essentially investing in themselves first and foremost with education, personal growth and development, and then we give them the tools and the training to be able to build a business online, leveraging the power of the internet, as well as some really high-level technology for their health and focusing on prevention as opposed to reaction. And what I found is over the last number of years, people are overfed, they're undernourished, they're getting sicker sooner. So there's an epidemic around the health side of things, but also people are focusing on earning money, and then once they acquire success or they acquire a certain amount of money, they lose their health in the process and then spend all their money to get it back.
Like most people are so focused on making the money that they forget about their family or relationships or their health. Not always.
Not always.
But a lot of times we do. We see that people are so focused on getting to that achievement, making that money, building that business, selling the business, retiring, whatever it may be. It's different for everybody. But yeah, unfortunately, we do see that on the path to abundance and riches and success financially, we usually see, unfortunately, some people that do put their health second or third or fourth or fifth or sixth, and sometimes even their family, unfortunately.
And that's happened to me, actually. I was dealing with some health challenges growing up when I started focusing around looking for ways to earn more income. Because my family growing up, we never had much, so it was always like money driven and success driven, but my health also took a hit. So after a while I realized if we could teach people simultaneously how to be healthier, wealthier, and have freedom all at the same time, and showing the importance of all those areas as well as relationships, etc., then we can really help people live that fulfilling life.
So you, like so many other people that have come through these doors, and people around the world that are now financially successful and free and living the life that I think a lot of us aspire to have, you didn't always have that though. You said you grew up in an environment where there wasn't necessarily financial abundance, and I know that that can cause problems with family, with parents, with education, and it, a lot of times is what people use as a limiting belief. I don't have the finances, the parents, the money, the education, whatever it may be. What was your story like? How did you, what did you grow up in? What was that environment? And how did you essentially transition into entrepreneurship? Like as a kid, did you always know that was what you wanted to do?
No, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know how you become an entrepreneur or be in sales. My family immigrated from Hungary, Eastern Europe, over to Canada, pursuing that American or Canadian dream. And I'm super grateful for my parents for taking that huge risk, coming here with nothing, couldn't even speak the language. But growing up, we never had much money. But the bigger issue is that my dad was always working, so it was actually, we had no time either. So I quickly realized that I needed to find a way to not only help myself, but others earn money, but also not trade time for money and have a business that was leveraged.
And you help people follow a proven process, implement proven principles that thousands and thousands of people have gone through to achieve the results that you're talking about right now. So you provide people the recipe book. They can literally walk in the kitchen, so to speak, have the ingredients, follow the recipe, and get the result. The result that you provide happens to be financial freedom and abundance and a great life. What is that process? What is the blueprint?
I think the big thing that's changing the landscape of business and opportunity today is the power of the internet, power of social media. And what I've come from a background of door-to-door sales and doing things belly-to-belly, face-to-face, there's so many variables that the average person has to learn. The skill sets, the mindset, the failure, the experiences. There's so many pieces of the puzzle that for someone to come through and catch them up to that level takes a long time. And most people aren't willing to put in the 3, 6, 12, 18 months to get to that place where they're comfortable, right? So what we've done is we've actually broken it down. So instead of learning 10 skill sets to be successful with an online business, we help people just focus on one. And by simplifying it, making it duplicatable. They can come in and 90% of the process is done for you. So the learning curve gets decreased by 90% and they can focus on that 10% and getting better there. And that's why we're having so much success. So we're finding like school teachers and construction workers and servers and bartenders and people who are so far removed. There's such a gap between where they are and where they need to be successful and have the life they want. We can accelerate that without them having to learn those things and be like, this is all in place through softwares and automation, and it's infinitely scalable. So we can serve any country, any language, all over the world, and there's no limitations because the internet does connect us all. So it's really cool.
So anybody of any age, necessarily, any financial background, can pretty much come in and learn this blueprint, this template, this formula. They can follow it. And what is the duration? How long will it take on average? You've got over 10,000 people that have gone through this. How long on average does it take for them to achieve success, see results?
I mean, it really does vary person to person based on their work ethic, how coachable they are, so it's hard to say for sure. We've had some people come in, follow the system, put in as much of their spare time as they can, really get committed to their goals, and quitting their jobs and replacing their full-time income in 30 to 90 days. That's happening quite often. It's really quick. With that being said, it's not a guarantee or a promise that that's going to happen. Some people take 12 to 18 months, but on the flip side, you know, what's the alternative?
You know, it's not easy to reach thousands of people. You guys are doing it with millions of people with content. How do you do it? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Is it Snapchat? What's working? What's not?
There's lots of ways of doing it. Our community is actually leveraging multiple platforms, but what we teach and the simplest, most effective at the moment right now is Facebook. It's the most highly targeted. You can get in front of the exact audience you want, and the leads and the people are also costing the least out of any platform right now. So, and most people are spending their time on Facebook.
Why do most people say though, oh, that Facebook stuff doesn't work, we tried it? Like, I hear that all the time. Well, I don't know, we did Facebook, it doesn't work. What, like, I mean, I have my opinions on why it's not working, but why do you think it is? You guys are crushing it with Facebook, and that's part of your turnkey model that people can inject themselves into and literally follow the exact process you use on Facebook. But why are most people not successful?
I think people overcomplicate it. Our training is really simple in the sense of being able to put the information in front of the right people and they just follow that step by step. And what we're offering is also very generic across many different interest groups or demographics. You know, having more freedom in your life, being able to travel more, working from home. These are things, no matter who you are, you probably want more of in your life. So when we offer our free online webinars and workshops that educates people on what we do, then from there they can decide if it's a good fit. So we've really been able to target such a wide variety of people, and we're having people joining from every different aspect and demographic, and they're all seeing success. So it's really cool to see that.
How can you create a team of leaders? Balazs Kardos is joining us to answer that. He's built a team of over 10,000 people, so he's the perfect guy to ask this to. And he's the CEO and founder of the Global Prosperity Movement. Pleasure to have you on the show, brother. How do we do it?
Yeah, for sure, brother. The big thing for me is I was always looking for people with influence and skill sets that I didn't have. So for me, I wasn't always trying to get people that were just like me. I understand that everybody has a unique talent and a gift, and you can learn from everybody. So I was, in the beginning, trying to find people with the strengths that were my weaknesses, and then leveraging that through their audience, through their network. So that's how I started everything in the beginning.
I think most people make the mistake of hiring people like them.
Right.
And I've heard that from so many people, from small businesses to large, and they say one of the most important things you can do is what you just said. It's, you have your strengths, double down on those, because those are your highest income and impact activities based around what your strengths are. If it's sales, that's what you do. If it's finance or accounting, that's what you do. If it's operations, that's what you do. But then you outsource, you delegate, you hire, and you train people around you that are strong and play at what you hate to do because it's a weakness. With business owners out there though, I'm already feeling people out there right now saying, but I don't have the money to hire these people. How can I do it? What do you say to that?
I think networking and relationships, you know, doesn't cost anything. You can go out there, put your face in the community, meet people, go to events, things like that, and really set an intention. You know, what are you looking for? Who do you need to meet? Who knows someone that knows someone, right? It's not who you know, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and who knows you. So really that was a foundational piece for me in the beginning. And I would just get out there and start asking people, who do you know in this space? And they would lead me to the right person eventually.
So when it comes back to the initial question of creating leaders,
right?
Does that mean that you're creating a team of leaders because you're finding people that are already leaders and somehow you're getting them in your group? Or does that mean that you're bringing people in and you're training them how to be a leader? Which one is it?
I would do both, depending on the person. So there are situations where someone has that natural leadership ability, but they haven't harnessed it. So I would believe in them more than they believe in themselves in certain areas, and then give them the training, the mentorship, the coaching to guide them in the right direction.
So they're a natural born leader. You can see it,
yeah,
and you're like, I just need to blossom this flower. This person doesn't realize they have the natural born skill sets to be a leader, and you believe in them, you support them, you give them the training and the guidance and the mentorship.
I feel like I've always had a unique gift for seeing that potential in people. So I don't see you as you are, I see you as who you can become. And because of that kind of future pacing with somebody, I can say, okay, if I guide you in this way, then you can eventually be here, even though they might not see it initially. And then one day they're like, hey, this is really, really, really cool.
Yeah, so I think that's a perfect point that you just nailed on the head right there is, leaders don't always see people for who they are. They see you for who you can become. They see you for what you're possible of achieving and capable of achieving and accomplishing. And I love that because I've known you for years now and I've only seen you continue to grow as a better leader. You've only continued to expand the people you're impacting, the team that are working with you. So for the person out there, again, you said networking, so I want to talk about that. What are some effective ways to network? Like when you were getting started, when you didn't have a team of 10,000 people, when you had none, you had just you, how do you get started? Because there's a lot of people listening right now and they're like, that's me. It's just me. What's the best way to network? Do I go to events? Do I cold call? Do I reach out on social media or LinkedIn? How do you do it?
I think it's not so much about the how-to. Everybody's different. Some people are comfortable with the messaging online or going to live events. It's not so much about that for me. I believe it's more about the being a go-giver and not always being like, what's in it for me, but creating win-win situations and framing it in a way like, how can I be of service to you? What do you need? How can I add value? And then naturally that law of reciprocity, they're like, well, how can I give back to you? So when I didn't have money, I couldn't pay to have people's expertise or their consulting in my life, but I would find other ways to be creative, connect them to people maybe they're looking for. But every meeting I ever had, I always started it with like, how can I be of service to you? How can I give to you? And people were blown away by that because usually it's a conversation where two people are saying, I need this and I need this.
And they're kind of bartering like, well, I'll do this for you. And then, well, how can I help you now? It's kind of like, okay. So what have we left out? When it comes to creating a team of leaders, you have to be a leader yourself. So maybe we talk about what some of the ingredients are that make somebody an effective leader.
The biggest thing that helps someone be a leader is when they take action first and figure it out later. So many people that I feel are followers are the people who always want to learn everything first, and they're stuck being like, I don't know it all, so I can't take the first step. I think one of the biggest things I've noticed about leaders is like, I don't really know what to do, I'm just going to try it, and then figure it out afterwards. And that action-taking personality is what I usually recognize in someone who's not afraid to just fail their way to success.
What else is a way that you can create leaders? Because there's people out there that go, I'm not a leader. But they can maybe be a kingmaker, a leader maker. So what are some other ways to be a leader maker in addition to just believing in somebody more than they believe in themselves?
For me, I'm not sure how someone could be a leader maker if they're not one. I don't understand that concept. For me, it's always been about leading by example. So if I'm gonna tell someone to do something, it's not as effective if I say, let's do it together, watch me first, and then you do it, right? And I feel like it's a lot more impactful for somebody to be like, oh, he's doing what he's teaching, not just talking. So I've always been the person like, watch me, and then, hey, you do it now, and they're like, okay. So that's always helped.
Why do you believe, and I think it's an interesting question to ponder, is why do you believe that most people won't take action on the right things until they're first hearing about it from somebody who's taken action? There's so many things out there that we know we should be doing, and we know like, oh, I should do this. And if you're telling me to do it, and I know it's the right thing, I'm more inclined to do it if you're doing it too. Why is that?
I'm not sure. I think that it just gives it more proof and validates the fact that it works when someone is watching you do it and then seeing the results show up in your life. It's almost like, hey, if I do that too, I'll get those same results. So law of cause and effect, whereas if I'm not living it and all I'm doing is teaching it or telling people, then they're kind of like, well, I don't know if that's even gonna work. So I think that holds people back from actually doing the work.
I 100% agree. I think that's a perfect example. At the end of the day, to be a great leader and to create a team of leaders, you have to take action and they will follow and believe in people more than they believe in themselves. Where can people learn more about you, brother?
You can hit me up on my website, balazswkardos.com, and also on my social media, same thing, balazswkardos on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
And I've seen your stuff, bro. You post some mad content. That's why we have you on the show. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks for being here.